as well. I gotta say, I just want to point out Twitch vote though. That Cham 60-40 is pretty
wow.
pretty cool. He actually has the favoritism. Obviously 1-0 up, and because he 3-0'd SpeCial before, maybe it makes sense. Chat getting on the Cham train when we didn't. Well, Twitch chat, here's your boy in the bottom right hand side from Team GP, up 1-0 to start this series. It's Cham.
And on the top left-hand side of Cosmic Sapphire for Storm Gaming, it is SpeCial. And you will never guess it, where did you? But the Google result came back and I was like, oh, duh. You know what your name is in Spanish?
Oh.
Juan.
Juan?
And John is Juan.
Yeah, that's...
Tracks. So you are Juanito as well.
Juanito too.
Yeah.
I haven't won 5 years worth of Latin American championships though. So.
True. That's true.
So definitely,
well, only Juan.
Juan. I'll just stick to Wardy. It's fine with me.
All right, if that's what you would prefer. We are here, of course, on Cosmic Sapphire as the game has started, and there is a very standard opening here from Juan. It's just going to be a 1 Rax expand. As we see already that there is an SCV going to the low ground. Reaper has not started yet, so we'll actually favor the CC over the first unit and will be a Marine to follow. Fast factory then.
Yeah, I'm just going to be seeing a factory dropping down. Yeah, this comes on obviously just a little bit sooner, a little bit quicker than usual because you don't go Reaper. And I mean, this is obviously so, I'm not sure how the exact veto process, but obviously this feels like a Cham map pick to start out with. You take Cosmic Sapphire straight away. It's actually really nice, right? You get to start 1-0 up, then you play on your map. If you get a 2-0 lead, that's got to feel great in this series. Wouldn't be surprised if SpeCial comes out with something a bit funky on this map, specifically just because this is typically seen as a bit of a Zerg map. It's large, there's lots of directions to go in, it's hard to control the creep. There's a gold base the Zerg can get to if the game starts getting out of hand. All of these just massive aids to point you in the right direction as a Zerg player.
Yeah, for sure. And I already like Juanito's approach, right? It looks like he's going to go for a 3CC more than likely, being very greedy. Actually, he starts a Helium before the transfer there. I was expecting double Helium production and a Starport. So it's going to be some sort of a 1-1-1, maybe some sort of like a 1 medevac drop with Marines. Could see a mine to follow then from the factory if he really wants to. And yeah, I'm still expecting some sort of greedy opening, just given how large this map is.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Just 3CC, something like either some sort of greedy opening, or you really like double down on the aggression just to try and end it, right? Like, I don't feel like you can go kind of middle of the road and then just be like, oh yeah, now I'm just gonna kind of like macro out of like a little bit of a push. To me, this has to be one extreme or the other, the greed or the aggro.
Yeah, for sure. And it's going to be that 1-1-1, basically. Just it's going to be a few Marines loaded, maybe a couple of Hellions, 2 or 3, trying to run by or just gather information while the Widow Mine and the Marines try to do something in probably the main of Cham. It's going to be a Battlecruiser follow-up, though. Interesting.
I like that. I mean, you play BC into some kind of mech play and stuff, right? And I do feel as though then you get into one of those positions where actually you take away some of the features of the map, right? Because a lot of the time we talk about maps in terms of how well does a bio army perform? How well does this bio army do? What can a Zerg do against a bio force in this map? But yeah, you play kind of like BC in a mech and you take a lot out of that. So yeah, that's very fun as our medevac comes down the right side and is going to land into the main base.
Cool.
But Sling's here to defend it, so nothing gained straight away. And this is a good defense, of course, from Cham to start out with. Not going to let SpeCial in.
Yeah, very nice. This Widow Mine is going to aid in taking down this Overlord by the looks of it. Going to be quick to it and then unburrow and just go elsewhere. So nice from SpeCial. Gets a little bit of a bounty there and does clear some of the vision for later on as well. The Hellions will have an easier time rotating to this side of the map and joining with the rest of the army as they look to engage onto Queens. The Widow Mine, however, only half the way of its load time to fire again. So not going to commit for it.
Yeah, we'll hold this medevac out to the right side. I mean, right now you're really just hoping to distract and be annoying, and then the BC shows up and Cham is a bit like, wait, what? I've been so busy dealing with this, I wasn't ready for that. You see right now, though, Lair, Rotor, and Triple Spore. I mean, this is all the right stuff to play against a BC and then potentially against mech. That's the exact direction you want to be taking things in, so gotta love that a little bit.
Yeah, he will only lose one link to the Widowmine. On the other side, the Hellions run by, and it's going to be 3 drones falling so far for all of the Hellions, just 4. So great defense from Cham so far. The creep spread is there. Everything that he wants is really on location and ready to answer Juanito for the time being. So a great opening here from Cham.
Yeah, just really nullifying the damage. And obviously he's taking a bit of damage, but very manageable amounts. He's not letting this get out of track. Out of the way. Let's see this BC teleporting in. This is the big main moment, and the Queens are a bit out of position to deal with it, so this is maybe SpeCial's best shot at really starting to add on some damage. We do see, though, the drop getting cleaned out, the Queen surviving, and the drones only a couple going down again. Very manageable damage. Damage you can absorb, and then continue playing your game plan from. The only thing I want to see right now is drop a Spire down already, and he does drop it down now. Just like, get that down ASAP, right? As soon as that goes down, the better it's going to be for you.
Yeah, the Queens are still here to answer with plenty of energy for the transfuse, so the BC really shouldn't get much accomplished. And I mean, the leash for the BC, its staying power is just going to be in its HP, so it really has to be careful not to take more damage. And Juanito here revealing a little bit of his game plan in showing this many Hellions, right? It's going to be kind of obvious that you're going into mech after this point. Does get rid of the links. That grants him access into this third base where he's going to get 6 workers, now 9, 10, and that is the damage that Juan was looking for. Very nice for him.
Yep, getting a lot of damage done towards the end here, and Cham is not exactly droned up to be okay against this damage either, right? Like, he's only on 54 workers coming out. It's not like he was on like 70, 80. It's like, okay, bounce back by 10, it's fine. This is kind of a worrying work account for him, and I mean, he's going to finish the Spire, but not have money to build Corruptors straight away, and has it all
for that matter.
Yeah, has it all just added up? Did he not drone at the right time? Because it feels like for how he was defending initially, he should be in a way better position than this. Even after losing those 10 workers just before now, it just feels like it shouldn't be as bad as it is for him.
Yeah, it feels like a little bit of slipping there on the mechanical front, as Juan is going to attempt for another Hellion run by here at the same time as the battle cruiser encroaches onto the third base of Cham. The Hellions are not going to accomplish too much, but the battle cruiser will find itself with the drones and without a spore inside. Now flying towards it in order to get some more drones will be forced to teleport as 2 Marines just randomly kind of appear out of nowhere. And yeah, Cham's next step is going to be to try to stabilize against the battle cruisers with those Corruptors as he continues to try to drone up. But I'm completely with you. I mean, it felt like maybe those Queens had a little bit too much energy when they were fending off the battle cruiser, right? Like maybe missing a couple of injects or maybe saving a few too many transfuses.
Yep. Yeah, just one of those things where it just feels like the macro has slipped a little bit here. These Hellions get through 4 drones. See, usually this sort of stuff's fine because you just have so many workers. You can lose a couple because he's given up units for it, right? And then you just rebuild them. Off the back is still building your units, but this doesn't feel okay because Cham's just never been on a very comfortable work account, and SpeCial is doing a very good job of controlling this first game that they're playing. And yeah, I mean, like I say, if you can pick up a win on SpeCial's side on your opponent's map pick, you know, Cosmic Sapphire, tie the series up, that's gotta feel good. You probably get your own map pick in next, a chance to take a lead in the series, and then you've won 2 in a row, and then Cham definitely does not feel good at all. So it's I always feel like when you have that 1-0 lead in play, this first map is so decisive because it can really set 2 different tails really off into motion.
Yeah, and it's gonna be Swarm Host for Cham, which is an interesting take against mech, right? Like, it can work, but Cham doesn't usually commit to the Swarm Host too much. I think these 12 are as many as he's gonna be making, but 4 of those you can count out if the battle cruisers choose to just Yamato them over the Corruptors. I mean, that's another option as well, right? And that just means that he's gonna need so many Corruptors, Cham, in order to deal with these BCs before the BCs kind of can zone off those farm hosts.
Yeah, the fact he only has 4 Corruptors is really not enough, right? I mean, you're just not going to be able to control these BCs at all. They're going to be running rampant throughout the entirety of this game, it feels like, and we're going into more and more Swarm hosts, which it feels like SpeCial's already getting a decent answer to. Yeah, this is, I mean, these are run bys which are just adding up at this point as well, for sure, as Slings and Roaches are stop most of the damage being done. 2, 3 drones. I mean, that's okay, right? That really ain't so bad. But let's see.
Yeah, and he has position here. Yeah, exactly. He has position for the first Swarm Host wave. It's gonna be a good one by the looks of it. 2 tanks already falling, make it 3. So that is really nice. So good 1-2 punch on defense and then offense from Cham, who has a good forward position with a lot of Queens as well. thanks to the good creep that he had been spreading, and that is kind of really good for this type of army, right? Without these queens, the Corruptors really can't zone out the carriers, and then the Swarmhosts are gonna kind of struggle to do anything. But with this forward of a position, Cham, actually good chances to make something happen here.
Yeah, I mean, he actually is going to really go for this. These 3 Corruptors, I just wish he had more Corruptors, man. I know that takes away from the Swarm Host count, but it just feels like there's no good answer to these BCs. And the Locust dropping down again, Roach is breaking into the natural. It's just the Battle Cruisers that are going completely unanswered. If he had some way to shut those down, push those back, then there's really no answer at all. For now, the BCs can chase after the Roaches, and then they're going to be able to turn back around for the next wave of Locust. 14 Corruptors on the way. That feels a lot more like what we want to see. And Cham is making good progress so far, man. It's going okay.
Very good. Very, very good. I love the kind of hold position onto the tank of Juan, recognizing that the Roaches could turn around for it. These tanks are worth their weight in gold right now. If he can protect them from the Swarm Hosts, it will be super important. But now Cham is going to recognize that, take 2 more of those tanks down. Potentially 3 Ravagers could actually dial down the tank in the back as well. And here comes the next wave of Locusts. They could also do the job. The supply depots are kind of on the way. So gonna make it a little bit more difficult, but not difficult enough. And here come the Corruptors, 1 BC already falling. And now this position has to be pretty much forfeit for SpeCial. This game is looking excellent for Cham now.
Wow, I mean, honestly, it looked weak for Cham at certain points. His work account just was not there at all. And now pushing through this orbital lifted off, it is looking like Cham, like you say, has kind of got this. Even right then I was like, oh my god, the Swarm was just like landed on tanks that are dead. And then there's the one tank that's dealing loads of damage. I'm like, oh my goodness, but turns out okay. We're going to Caustic Spray down this base. You can't save that, right? Even for the repair. Caustic Spray is going to be way too much. The BC show up, sure. I mean, you pay the Corrupted tax, you lose a couple. That's fine. It's going to happen. I'm surprised you don't turn onto the BCs there, though, because obviously you know they've just teleported, so they'll be on cooldown. I felt like an opportunity to at least pick up the kill on the low HP one, though. Maybe if enough SCVs are there, then it's not worthwhile because it just gets repaired up to full. We are going to die for it now. We're going to get rid of 1 BC. That's exactly what I'm saying. Teleports on cooldown. You can't get them away.
Yeah, I think that's wow. And Cham, I mean, this might just be game over. Now Cham takes another base, and yeah, it's exactly that. The SCVs were already under the BCs, but now Cham, I mean, with the economic lead that he has, he doesn't even have to trade anywhere near cost efficient. In fact, he should have just continued to trade there, but it's not gonna matter, as SpeCial is gonna recognize that he is 100 supply down, and GG out. So yeah, very interesting game 1. Cham is gonna get a 2-0 lead against SpeCial, and that's gotta feel pretty good.
It's gotta feel amazing. I mean, obviously you say you start the series up 1-0 as well, but you gotta remember the reason that is because he 3-0'd SpeCial to get here, right? So
yep.
You're still riding that momentum. Now you're like, man, I've just won 4 maps in a row against SpeCial essentially, and you're 2 maps away, right? You have to win 2 more maps out of the next 4, out of the next 6. Sorry, you got to win 2 out of the next 6, and you're the champion of Latin America. I mean, that's what Cham's been dreaming of for a long time. I'm sure of that. So it's going to go into Waterfall for the next map. A little bit tougher here because it's a special map pick. It's a typically very good Terran map, but here's the thing, right? Suddenly you're playing Waterfall, and what does Cham do a lot of the time? He plays these weirder maps, right? He plays these Roach styles and stuff. When Submarine was in the map pool, he's like the one Zerg that would let Submarine come into a best of 3. So I'm not as worried for Cham playing on Waterfall as I would be if it was like any other Zerg. Like Cham is the one Zerg who I'm like, yeah, he probably actually has played some Waterfall in best of 3s because he's like, yeah, sure, I like the short maps. So if that plays into his style, maybe that's something you can look at here. And then maybe we're talking about 3-0. Obviously, for the sake of a good finals, let's maybe hope that SpeCial can win his map pick and get one on the board already.
Yeah, for sure. That would be huge for Juanito. It's a very important map, like you're alluding to, and I mean Cham coming strong there. Just to touch on that last map, I think thinking back to it, the Rambites for SpeCial did a lot of economic damage, but he forfeited so many Hellions that the creep was uncontrolled. So good on Cham to kind of capitalize on what he had going for him. The drone count wasn't great, but the creep was so good that it offered him that launchpad where the queens could actually aid the swarm host and the roaches, and he could have the swarm host as far forward as he did to kind of like close out the game. So beautiful job from him. And now we are on to the next one as we are all loaded in. And in the bottom left-hand side of the map, it is for GP Cham.
The reigning, defending Latin American champion consistently has been in trouble this season. Can he bring it back now from 0-2 down? It is SpeCial.
Yeah, we're not used to that shakiness.
Yeah, Absolutely.
Usually he's absolutely dominant, but this time around, looking like he can bleed, and Cham's certainly looking to exploit that. Cham will be going for a hatch first on this very small map. SpeCial still opening with just a one barracks, most likely a Rax expand off of the single gas. So yeah, kind of standard here, but I am curious what the approaches are going to be. Traditionally, small maps not that great for mech play. They can be, but you know, like there is a little bit of too little time to get set up, basically, if your opponent is aggressive, and we know that Cham can be. But this map maybe a little bit more so than others, just because this third, the triangle, has such a nice setup and a launchpad for tanks to sit up on that ledge, right, and then maybe do a slow push towards your opponent. So I think mech is still in the cards for Juan, but so is Bio.
Yeah, I think I feel like Bio just benefits so much from this map, right? It would be crazy not to play Bio here. Just play Bio off of Banshees, you know, Banshees to keep you safe initially from some of this initial roach pressure, then get into your Bio play and just play out kind of the expected, right? You know, just do what's kind of expected of you. You know, short map, you can push aggressively, 2-base if you want a 2-base, whatever you feel like your best Bio play is, you bring it out right now. But mech is a bit wild, because then it just gives Cham that opportunity just to really kind of just jump on you before you're ready, right? Like, it's so difficult, because the Zerg is then going to use the shortness of the map to their benefit.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, Cham sending 2 drones to the third, so a little bit of a mistake there. Don't want that. And he's sure soon to realize and readjust. This drone's just going to head back home, but it will be a Reaper that meets it, so maybe can kind of begin to click it. He will not, as he focuses on the more attainable link kills. And yeah, we'll see what SpeCial chooses to do. I think that you're spot on as far as the Banshees are concerned. I think that that's one of the best options, just kind of to account for and mitigate the effect of potential roaches here. So that's also, I think, what I would like to see.
Yeah,
Reaper.
For a moment, I was like, "Hey, what if the drone coming back from the third is like a Mega Mind game? Somehow you killed the Reaper, and it's like you just saw a drone return from the third. You're like, wait, you didn't take the third?
No, that would have been cool.
That would have been sick, but obviously the Reaper stayed alive, checked it. Wasn't a thing. Definitely wasn't intentional. This would have been this would have been a funny one if it had been.
Yeah, most definitely. And Cham is a very tactical player, right? Like, for all of the mechanical shortcomings, when you compare him with like some of the better European Zergs, perhaps, I think as far as like when he commits to attacks and the tactics and the unit choices that he makes are always very, very good. He's very good at reacting. He is a very Zergy player in that regard. So yeah, let's see if he can keep that up. I mean, his engagements have been stellar throughout the last 4 games that he has played against SpeCial, who is going for those Cloak Banshees like you alluded to. So it should be, you know, it's sort of an easy defense for him if Cham was to get aggressive with roaches, which we know he can.
Yeah, absolutely. This Reaper is playing jump up and down and distract these lings for a little while. As you have some already stunned with the Queen getting the Reaper kill. So we're already making our way into Stim, getting that cloak coming up for the Banshees. All this is going through quite nicely for the moment.
Yes, indeed. Cham is going to have to identify that this is a potential happening here and drop some spores. It's already a little bit late to them, so look on the production tab for those spores to be dropped. The Queens are going to be the welcoming committee for the first Banshee, but it's going to have the ability to cloak right away, so it could do a lot of damage.
Yeah, absolutely. Just
it's not done yet.
Oh, be nice to get in there. Obviously, you see the Banshee now is Cham as well. Would be a great time to make sure you get spores. No, we kill the Banshee, and there's no spore ready on the third. Oh, I mean, that's just a heartbreaking, especially because, I mean, that's huge for Cham, right? I mean,
yeah,
he's literally moments away from losing 5, 6, 7 workers, pulling the entire mineral line away from mining. And instead, he just kills the Banshee. I mean, what a micro mistake. And now there's going to be spores ready. Of course, you know, Banshee's usually best in pairs as well, because then they can one-shot drones. Now you're never going to get that opportunity either, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, no surprise factor as well.
Doesn't have the hatchery money.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the map was a little bit too short, right? Like, the Banshee was a little bit too fast to the other side, and it was seconds away from completing its cloak. But chooses to reveal itself before then, which is fair enough. If the queens aren't in position, you can get in position. By the time the queens react, you can cloak. But Cham with great positioning, good overlord position as well. He's very good at this, at having overlords right on the outskirts of his creep. So SpeCial gets spotted a little bit earlier than he would have liked. And with those overlords on the creep, he gets all the vision that he needs Cham to reach and kill that Banshee before it can cloak. So yeah, not a worthwhile investment for SpeCial there, and it is an expensive one. And this is going to free up Cham to go into Roaches as well. We've seen Cham go into Muta as an answer to the Banshees, which is very fair. But having killed one for free effectively, I think Roaches are a good avenue of attack.
Yeah, I like it a lot. You get rid of one Banshee early. Your opponent didn't, really get much done, didn't slow you down. So your Roach time would be big. You hit a nice little time here with some Lings. Even just an SCV or two, forcing the SCVs off, just slows your opponent down while there's 1-1 Roach time and gets ready to go. Short map, right? So you get across super quickly as well with these Roaches. He's not a Bane Nest, though, so he's not just going to be fully committed to the 1-1 Roaches. Seems like it's going to be a longer-term plan for him. And we'll see how that works out, because he's making a lot of Roaches right now. So interesting to not just full commit to it.
Yeah, that's revealed them as well. So as soon as he sees them, SpeCial starts a tank in production here. So we'll have 2 or 3 perhaps by the time the Roaches hit at the very least. And that's going to be nice for him. But will he have him in the right position? SpeCial? Oh my god, those vials are them connecting. And if they had all connected, actually, that medevac would have fallen. And with better positioning, perhaps both of them. So SpeCial really not as attentive as he usually is right now.
Yeah, these Roaches coming into the main base, trying to fight off these Marines. And he's going to be able to do it. Obviously, the biggest weakness of Roaches is just their immobility. So diving to the main base with drops like this is one way to punish them.
Yeah, I got the hiccups out of nowhere. There's no cure for those.
No, there's no. Hold your breath, but then how do you talk?
Then I can't cast.
Yeah. This happens to me when I'm casting this gym. Like, man, I've got the hiccups. I must just hold your breath. I'm like, yeah, but then you guys won't hear what's happening.
Yeah. All right, well, 1-1 is going to complete here for Cham. There is also Baneling Speed started, as well as an Infestation Pit wanting to maybe go into later stages of the game. Juanito's going to clear some creep, which is going to be really nice. That was one of his biggest problems in the last game. And these Marines can be evacuated, but they don't want to stay for the prolonged fight against this Roach Ravager here. Now the Banshee will come for their help.
Yeah, getting rid of the creeps is really nice, obviously, when you're playing this bio style. And you can see that, obviously, Cham just on his way towards all of these speed upgrades as well, right? Bane speed, Roach speed, everything that's going to help him out in a longer game. You know what? Right now, I'm looking at SpeCial, and he does have double engineering bait, but no +2 armor starts. That's a factor as well to keep in mind, that he might be missing one of his upgrades down the line. That could be an expensive miss if he's not careful.
Yeah, and he has the money for it right now, so hopefully he gets that started soon, and it's not an oversight on his part. He is making another CC as well on location on the 4th, and this bio army is doing a good job of keeping the Roaches back, but there's not enough medevacs to load the rest of the units here, so he's gonna stand and fight until he can no longer trade, and then load up the remaining units, you would presume. He doesn't actually, loses a lot of bio there.
Yeah, a couple of bios connected in that bio as well, which is something you typically want to avoid. And SpeCial is about to be supply block too. I guess the CC will finish up to free up some supply, but no depots on the way, so it's just the CC to free up the supply right now, and yeah, it frees up a bit, but maybe not everything he'd need. And as all these upgrades finish, you almost feel like maybe there's potential timing for Cham here. Again, hard to decide if he really wants to commit to it or not, because there's going to be a lot of Terran defense in play as well. So absolutely a tough question. Not sure which way I'd take it.
Yeah, and I like Cham's approach here in the sense that he did start taking pretty fast. His hive is almost done, so Vipers, I think, are going to be the tool that allows him to really push across the map. So SpeCial has been looking to absorb, trying to keep Cham on his side of the map, but Cham has been perfectly fine with that, just looking for that very fast transition. So a very interesting approach on his own right. The only problem for him is that it's a little bit mistimed, in the sense that if it was a little bit earlier, he would still be maxed and able to hit with the Vipers, whereas here he's maxed and having to trade supply in order to make his timing effective, because by the time the Vipers are out, one will be maxed himself.
Yeah. There's that +2 trail along as we have... well, I'm waiting for that tech to come into play. We got medevacs trying to drop down the left-hand side, and that's the one thing that's still not really set up well, or Cham isn't really set up well against. He's got a couple spores. I guess the medevacs, if they had that boost still available, actually would have been through those spores, no issue, but obviously the spores are good against the medevacs at the very least. So for now, Cham remains okay. And so we're both going to max, and we're going to start dropping down the Ultra Cabin. So that's going to be our transition point here from Cham. Get to those Ultras, and then just try and play that style. One of these medivacs now very low.
Oh!
As you do have units kind of moving around everywhere. Some Banes get involved with the bio over there.
Yeah, Juan on multiple fronts. I mean, against Cham, he seems to always have the better of him as far as multitasking is concerned. But this game, Cham has been on point, just kind of looking everywhere that he needs to look and getting the better end of the engagements, having good unit spreads. And I mean, Juan is going to lose a lot in the middle of the map here against a maxed out Cham that is now transitioning into Ultras and getting those Sling upgrades as well to follow suit with his range upgrades. And he's on the other side doing a lot of damage now. The SCVs are exposed. Would be good to maybe load some of those onto the medevac. The tank barely survives the bios, like you were alluding to. And yeah, I mean, this seems to have been really good for Cham, and the supply is super deceitful because look at the bank.
Yeah, the bank
3
is
larva
absolutely
only.
huge.
Oh
If
my
he could
God.
just spend it, man. Like, he doesn't have
Yeah.
the lava. I mean, he can start Ultras,
Ultras,
which obviously use
yeah.
a lot of money very quickly. So we do get a few Ultras on the way. I don't know how much I love Ultras, though, man. Like, there's a good amount of tanks, couple of libs on the way up. It's not like we're, you know, light on Marauders or anything either.
Yeah, but his mechanics are his you know, the efficiency of the mechanical front, I guess, is going to remove options from him where Ultras are just, you know, you just have to make Ultras because you don't have larva.
And here we go with this Bioforce coming through into this side. Looking to get by, and it's just going to be Roach Ravager trying to clean on up. Medivacs have to load up, pull away. Yeah, man, the lack of lava definitely was an issue for Cham. Now he's getting a bit back on track with it. He's replacing some drones, though. It feels like it's taken a long time to recover from this slew of fights. But, you know, at the end of it all, SpeCial isn't going to have a 5th base because the units are going to be here to force it to lift. And Cham does have bases all across the map. So in that regard, it's very good for him. Resources lost isn't too pretty, but it's not really meant to be for the Zerg, yes.
Yeah, for sure not. And this is a lot of Ultras. I mean, there is no Infestors inside, but I guess with this many tanks, that wouldn't play as big of a part. And the Ultras are actually going to engage onto a really nice clump of tanks here that is mostly undefended, and the bio really doesn't have a say here. There's only 2 Marauders. Oh, it actually runs on forward. That's a little bit of a mistake. A huge mistake, in fact, for SpeCial. It might end up costing him the game, as he has lost most of his army. And this army over here is only making room for the other army to take down the other base, and all of the SCVs there. 23 have fallen. Sure, a lot more to fall here at the natural base expansion of SpeCial, and things are looking very, very good for Cham.
Yeah, I mean, he just wiped out an entire base, orbital included. I just love to see a couple units speed up to the 12 o'clock base, right? Like an Ultra or 2, just go over there and deny the mining. Feels like there was a lot of potential for some damage there. There's just one tank. Didn't do that. That was the only position I feel like could have easily been broken as the first couple of Ghosts come out, but not in really a great position to keep Ghosts up and running right now, are we? So, can those Ghosts really make the difference the first few? I mean, they'll help. Will they completely turn this army around? I want to say unlikely. This first fight is going to be okay, though, for SpeCial, and Cham will not find a breaking point yet. Again, if he could just spend his money, but it's a lava issue once again. He's got lava that he just can't get rid of.
Yeah, luckily for him, he has the larva dump in the banelings, I suppose, and now soon to have the potential to go into Broodlords as well if he wants to. The Ultras have helped out his case, and I mean, with no Marauders, no Ghosts, and no Liberators to answer the first wave of Ultras, he did carve himself a really nice advantage. These Ultras are pretty weak, and these supply depots are actually being pretty annoying too, but he can definitely go for this move with the banelings, and in trading those for the Planetary Fortress, he is gonna further make a big dent on Juanito's economy here. So Cham, once again, trading very, very well, not particularly efficiently, but it is what he needs to do, and keeping up the pressure right now for him is wonderful. Juan thinks he has an opening, however.
As long as he gets rid of bases, obviously then SpeCial cannot mine enough to really stay in it. However, yeah, you just gave up a lot of units. You need to get a rebuild good enough to then take this army on. Obviously, you're forcing the Terran player to come across the map onto creep to fight you, so that should be one of the advantages you can use that you don't typically have. Love the few Corruptors, get through some of these medevacs perhaps. Tank count isn't very high right now. This Ultra helping to lead this charge in, and we are going to get rid of the splash damage. That medevac saving the Ghost is out of there. Corruptor still giving chase. A couple of defensive libs back at home. SpeCial is pushed back for now, and yes, Cham lost a base, but he denied multiple bases of SpeCial, and SpeCial is really clinging on for dear life when it comes to his economy.
Yeah, and I was gonna say maybe I would love to see an Infestor added here, especially when you are on defense where the army is charging into you. Then Fungal can be so powerful, but Cham is broke as far as the gas is concerned. He spent his last bit on the banelings, and yeah, a lot of Ghosts go down there now. charging into the Liberators, and that's going to be fine with the Ravagers' help as well as the Corruptors. Cham with the pieces that he needs to break on through here. And again, sectioning army to the next base of SpeCial. He's going to be able to close out another game to put himself up 3-0. 3-0.
What has Cham eaten for breakfast this week? Because he is monster moding. Now 5-0 versus SpeCial in this season. I mean,
absolute beast.
Wait a minute, does anyone in the Latin American scene ever win 5 maps in a row against SpeCial? I feel like that could be a record in itself, like all time, like 5 maps in a row. I feel like that's never happened.
I mean, you remove Cham and Kelasur, and the question, and the better question is, has anyone won 5 maps against SpeCial? You know, like in the Latin American scene.
Have they all won 5 maps against SpeCial combined?
Yeah. I mean, if you count Brood War, maybe in the last 20 years I have, but yeah, outside of that, nah, I doubt it.
It's just crazy, man. I feel like we're watching. It's been, wild today. Today started off really crazy. We kind of normalized a little bit at the end of Europe, and then Latin America kind of kicked off and got wild again. And this final is not what we were expecting in the slightest. And right now, Cham is a map away. He needs 1 out of the next 4, and he is going to be the Latin American champion. And we're going to start on Tropical Sacrifice, so we get to start on a map that Cham likes out of all of the others with a 3-0 lead. And obviously, he's got so many chances to just mix it up, get cheesy. I'd like to see him just play a regular game right now because it's his map pick. But then after that, maybe he's got a couple cheeses he can build onto other maps. Lots of opportunity, lots of potential. Cham looking fantastic as we set on up to go into Tropical Sacrifice. Cham is a map away from being the Latin American champion.
Oh my God.
Changing history.
Absolutely. And what a season that would have been for him. And he did lose to Kelasur, but otherwise he has kind of smashed everyone else here. And SpeCial, he is the big prize here. And Cham really showing that he can take it to him. So let's see if he can win his 6th map in a row against Juanito to close things out. Or if Juanito is going to come back and kind of do a magical reverse sweep. But it all remains to be seen. And this is, like you were alluding to, Cham's pick. It is a very Sergi map. And in bottom left-hand side, it is the man of the hour, Chamaco, for GP.
On the right-hand side, can he get any points on the board? It's SpeCial.
Never thought I'd hear that.
I know. It's actually bonkers. I will just say it. It is bonkers right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's gonna mix it up. I don't know. I feel like Cham has played similarly in most games that he has won against SpeCial. A lot of roaches, sure, but he hasn't overextended with them. He is always going into that hive, into that higher tech, and getting those ultras out. And really, if there is one thing that if I am Cham, I look back at the series and in general at my gameplay, and that larva is lacking. Your injects are not that clean. Your decision making is flawless. It's beautiful, right? And really, do what Dark does. Drop a couple of extra hatcheries in the main, because he really drops no macro hatches, it seems. And, the injects are not clean. So things to tighten up for Cham still, but looking great otherwise.
Especially in a game like this, I really feel like you get I really feel like you get away and just put a couple down, right? You don't need it to be clean. You're kind of crazy all over the map. You're keeping it busy. Just throw them down. He had like so much money at one stage as well, right? Like he was like 3K in the bank. Like, that's the perfect time to just say, oh, what can I spend this money on? Oh, I'll just build a couple hatcheries, because if nothing else, they're going to aid you further down the line. So
yeah, some of the European players look down on just how many extra hatcheries Dark has or seemingly has to build, right, to account for his own deficiencies. But that also allows him to have the queens up the front a little bit more, and it really speaks to the opponents that he has to go up against, right? Because like you're saying, these games are chaotic. Like when you're going up against, in the case of Dark, like against the Marus and Cures of the world, you are gonna make mistakes, and just accounting for that and giving yourself a little bit of room to breathe and keeping your options open as a result has to be a good thing. But Cham has been making it work even without. So who am I to say anything?
Yeah, all right. Honestly, a lot of the time I look at Cham, I'm like, well, maybe this, but then he's like making it work. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And you do you, bro. We're like, I always said this when he was not vetoing Submarine. Like every Zerg vetoed Submarine, right? And I'm just like, man, he just doesn't. I'm like, you know, at first I'd be like, he's crazy, but I'm like, nah, it's just how he likes to play. If he likes to play like that, then just go wild, yo.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's see if Juanito's going to be able to turn it around. 2 Hellions at a time. No money for the 4th one. Now he does. So he's going to be doing that. And this is the more standard opening that we've seen from him so far. Just maybe looking to contain that creep, which has been a problem throughout the series for him. Raven.
I kind of like the mix-up, but then especially the one that needs to mix it up, I guess so. He's done a couple of different things, hasn't worked out. Raven's a good way to control creeps, skirmish early, you know, get a lot of things under your own control, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be good in this particular map as well. It's difficult to push down the creep down the ramp, right? So we see SpeCial is going to be hesitant, or should be hesitant to go up the ramp, but actually will just run past the queens and into a couple of links. Good contain from Cham there, and a very good Evo chamber, but still SpeCial finding the room seemingly. If a couple of these Hellions fall down, however, the gas will be gone, and now it's much more difficult for SpeCial to kill any drones. And a great start from Cham yet again.
Yep, absolutely great. Just denying all these Hellions, getting some kills, drawing it up big time. Why are we building a second Raven? Okay, I've got no idea what we're doing. 2 Ravens? That's crazy.
It is pretty crazy, and now, I mean, it looks like he wants to apply further pressure, but adding on to the nothing that the Hellions accomplished, right? And really, I mean, with those Hellions, at least with the Raven, you have the capability to contain the creep, and maybe since he's still continuing to make 4 additional Hellions, that is still available, but not if he runs him in again. Please don't.
Gets a drone. You just got to be careful. I mean, you're playing bio as well, so you just can't afford to... You just can't afford to let the Hellions die again, because you just can't afford to keep rebuilding them repeatedly, because it slows down so much of your barracks
control.
play.
What are you doing? No, I don't like this. Not one bit. I mean, he's gonna sacrifice some more Hellions. Does get a really nice shot, like you are alluding to. As there's gonna be 7 drones falling, but at the expense of all of the Hellions. And again, in tandem with the Raven, I like 8 Hellions. The creep would never get out of control. That is so valuable for the Zerg. But you've sacrificed 8 Hellions for what is now like something like 10 workers total. Here comes the other Raven on the other side.
Yeah, what a turret here. I mean, this is starting to add up. SpeCial still down in workers. SpeCial, no 3rd CC, however. Just extra racks, 2 base all in. When you go like 2 base all in against, after dealing damage like this, though, then you've got to feel pretty good about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then it does get concerning for Cham, who's building what, like a lair, double Evo. None of this is going to help him deal with the 2 base all in, which is at the very least going to be able to start pushing out soon with these medevacs and that stim.
That is very, very true. I mean, but the creep spread has been unchecked, and Cham has done a good job of continuing with that. And again, this is not the easiest map to spread creep spread on. You got to go down that ramp where the Hellions can usually reside and kind of contain, right? But this time around, not the case. The Hellions have been all taken care of, so the Marines will have to push through a lot of creep. They will buy Cham a little bit of time and lose, but actually no scans necessary if the Ravens are there. So maybe that is a plus.
Yeah, Ravens will turn around here. Yeah, I don't hate it, right? The Ravens are somewhere else right now, distracting a little bit, allowing you to get forward, so make the most of that as Queens will trade transfusions, Lings will run forward, and actually getting quite a few Marines. I mean, right now for Cham, any unit you pick up is going to make your life easier down the line. I cannot possibly feel like these mutas are going to be really all that helpful. I mean, it feels like you need a crazy good fight for the mutas to be great. I mean, will the surprise factor be enough? I mean, the push is coming for SpeCial. I mean, if it could jump on the Ravens, maybe I like it, maybe not. I don't think I like it at all, man.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with the Muta, it's 10. I think I do like him, actually, because the thing with the Muta is if you can win the engagement on the ground, you clear everything, right? Those Ravens and those medevacs, they are going to be dead. If you were going for any other unit, Link, Bane, etc., then those units are unthreatened. But if Cham can bide his time, get this Muta out and get a good engagement, maybe he can clear this entire army out and go on the counter-offense. That said, Juanito's not really giving him much of a chance to do that, as he's just gonna blast into the natural expansion. Here are the Muta now, and Cham's gonna try to go for it. The tank fire is not gonna be helpful against the Marines, but the Muta are not really clumped up enough to really do enough damage there, and he will have to retreat into the natural. This is looking a little bit difficult for Cham, who doesn't have Baning speed either. Those Banings are never gonna find the connections that they were looking for. The Muta do get the Ravens, but they were mostly out of energy, and you were right, Wardicio. the Muta are not enough, and SpeCial will put one on the board.
He will put one on the board as he's up and out of there already. Gets a win, and obviously 3 to go to make the comeback happen, as we are going to be seeing SpeCial on the board. Like, I mean, that's surprising that it took this long, right? And I mean, the way he did it obviously just kind of looked how we kind of expect SpeCial to look. It's like, oh, I'm going to throw some units at you. Maybe it doesn't go great for me, but you know what? My timing afterwards is just going to be sharp. It's going to be on point. It's going to be deadly. Obviously, in this game, I feel like Cham is really set up doing the wrong thing. I think mutas, if you can get to like all the mutas out and about and like taking part, then brilliant. But the chance of SpeCial giving you the time to do that, like if SpeCial hits 30 seconds later, the mutas are already out. They're flying around. You can snipe a medevac, reposition. Maybe you give up a bit of space. But when obviously the mutas are spawned, he's already in the natural. It's just way too late, way too little. So
exactly.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to come in when you're already sectioned off and your opponent has already taken hold of a good position, right? Like, you don't want units trickling in from every angle. If you're gonna have flanks, you want them to be robust, right? If you have units coming from different angles, you want it to be half your army coming from one side and half from the other one. Not so much like 6 links here and a muta here spawning from disparate hatcheries. So yeah, it's a tough situation for Cham. Like you're saying, I think that 15, even 20 seconds later, it would have been a good potential for a hold. I also didn't like the Banelings one bit because they're never going to connect without Baneling speed. And with the tanks on the ground, I feel like Lings are, somewhat more effective. Like the splash is actually going to help a little bit more than Banelings that are not going to reach and are just more expensive for no reason.
Well, we're going to Stargaze for the next map in SpeCial. This is typically another one that Zergs don't like to play on, but those are the maps I feel like Cham actually doesn't mind. So like I say, we'll see if he has something planned. I feel like this wouldn't be a bad map to try and do some kind of fast mutas shenanigans on or something. Maybe also roach into lurkers. We'll see what he plans, as we have in the top left, though. The man who has kept this series alive from Sidestorm Gaming, SpeCial. And on the top left, don't worry, I forgot to change my camera. It's one bit, guys. I'm sorry.
And in the top left-hand side, it is from Sidestorm Gaming, actually from GP, Cham. This map. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I was convinced I put my camera on the observer. I didn't. Why do you swap sides of the map every time you observe? This is something you do.
Seriously, now that's crazy.
Yeah, this is something you've done repeatedly today.
Yeah.
The sides of the map we spawn in on, unbelievable. Catch me off guard.
He's not even bowing anymore. Amazing.
And he gave us a little nod. Yeah,
of course, shout out to our wonderful observer. It's been a 9-hour day or something for all of us. So excuse us if we're lacking a little bit on energy. I'm really trying my best here, Wardicio, but I think we're all pretty tired. It's a pretty cool opening here from SpeCial, though, so maybe that'll wake us up a little bit, as there's 2 barracks in the wall.
Yeah, I'm just happy I said the thing that was on my screen. I would have felt bad if I was looking at Cham and then I actually still said SpeCial. So yeah, at least in my head I'm right.
Yeah.
No, I mean the T-Rex Reaper opening. This is one of these things though where if this don't do enough straight away, you can be in so much trouble so quickly, right? So yeah.
Yeah, and personally, this is the kind of thing that I don't like on this spawns, right? It is a little bit spawn based just because of the add-ons. If you want to add add-ons here, they're going to be exposed. So, especially against a player that likes roaches and the likes, those add-ons could be very valuable. So, SpeCial might have to relocate his barracks, and that could be bad for him.
If Cham was doing something like fast roaches here, I feel like he gets into such a good position so quickly. But obviously he's just building Lings, getting Ling speed started. Obviously his scout right now as well is going to reveal that this is multiple racks to the front, so he knows what he's up against. And obviously that means he can respond in the way that he sees fit, which is obviously good news.
Yeah, for now it's going to be up to 8 links. That is going to be the response that he takes to. And the Queen is actually going to inject. I wouldn't have minded a creep tumor as well. It would have been an approach as well that he could have taken here to connect his bases and make it a little bit more difficult for the Reapers to jump up that one path. Reapers now going into the natural. There's plenty of circlings here, but it's the Queen that is going to have the job of taking a little bit of damage to section off these Reapers. Now the second Queen comes onto the low ground. I think these 2 Queens answering this and the links on the high ground is a way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, so far so good, right? And it's kind of not ideal when you've got this double jump up because you got to go up so much before you go. Oh, Reaper so close to going down. Just about survives. Really just survived in that last hit though.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I mean, there's additional 6 links coming in units. I mean, the larva is kind of lacking now. Link speed finishes, however, so it's going to be a little bit harder for SpeCial to make something happen with these. He's already looking for a transition there, so it's just going to be these 3 Reapers. Make no mistake, this is not the end of the game, but a decent start for Cham. And SpeCial is going to be adding those add-ons somewhat exposed here at the front.
Is he going to play Mac? Like, I'm trying to figure out what we're trying to do here with these like barracks, right? I'm like, because he's like flying one away, and then it's like coming back, and then we're playing like up and down. I'm like, my best answer is like, oh, we just play mech because I've got no idea what the barracks are trying
No, that is, yeah. I mean, that is, yeah, very confusing movement on the barracks. Makes a triangle, but yeah, I mean, yeah. You know, if there was a wall up like that everywhere, I'd be like, well, that's the most robust wall of ever. But it's, you know, like there's supply depots on either side of this triangle of doom.
Yep. Yeah. It's like the middle of my wall's really strong, so if you just attack me straight up the middle, I'm good. He's like, don't look at this side. He's like, quick, paint them like a bush or something. Don't look at them.
Yeah. That would be the way to go here if you're SpeCial, to be thinking along those lines, because otherwise I don't know what the shuffling was about. But there's a Banshee now on the way, additional Hellions making their way out on the map, and Cham actually with enough confidence to invest early on into that Overlord speed to gather additional information too.
Hellion is gonna be chased by a single Ling. Will actually take quite a bit of damage. As do have the fusion core finishing for SpeCial. I mean, Cham building roaches, he's got Overlord speed as well. I'm kind of wondering what the plan might be with the Overlord speed. I think it's just probably for a scout ride, try and confirm what's going on, which means he should be very well prepped for what SpeCial is doing. He shouldn't be caught off guard by that. So, in theory, it's still looking good for Cham in terms of setup and build order. I like where he's at. He's got roaches building so he can deal with the higher Hellion count he's expecting because he sees no add-ons on the barracks. So what the heck else are you meant to expect? Makes sense to expect some Hellions, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And he's going to have no trouble with them so far. It's going to be a battle cruiser for Juanito once again, as Cham adds his own Evo chambers here to try to get some upgrades out. Also looking to take a 4th base here at the triangle. And yeah, these Hellions haven't really accomplished too much. But, okay. 2 barracks floating over, so yeah, the answer is mech, and these 2 should be at least split up, right, to look into different paths.
Just keep an eye on things.
Yeah.
One of the cool things you can do with your barracks is you see Lings allowed in. Only 2 Hellions here. I like the Ling's going to try that look up into the main base, because obviously there's no wall into the main base, right? So this does force a bit more of a response. I mean, yeah, Ling's just kind of peeking out here, there, and everywhere right now.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the Hellions unattended to as well are going to fall to the 5 links that were left stranded there at the top of that ramp. And I love what Cham did there to run as far away as possible. And SpeCial is going to run his own Hellions into the main, but he's not going to accomplish much as there's links on their tails. And he's not really tending to the main either. Yeah, his links are killers.
Yeah, he cancels a 4th hatchery, so don't get me wrong, that's pretty nice. Cham only just now got to start the Spires. It's going to be a while till we're talking about Corruptors as an answer to this, but honestly, I don't feel like we're in a rush. Like, we've pushed the BC away. We haven't taken any drone damage. Like, canceling the 4th is annoying, but I don't think I mind this too much as Cham. And if I'm Cham, I'm kind of looking at this and thinking back to that first game we played, right? I'm like, well, can I put some pressure on and kind of deny him in good ways? I love these roaches. The BC's on the wrong side of the map, so Roach is going to come through here, hit the front, and okay, the BC's on its way back, but we're going to lose some SCVs before this day is done, because these are not going to clean up these roaches quickly at all, even with a battle cruiser in hand.
Absolutely not. And so, yeah, you can also hold position on your own roaches to get rid of those SCVs. Nice move by Juan, but Cham is going to adapt quickly. Second BC will be here, and that is just about double the damage output, making a little bit more with that tank, and the Hellions outputting now damage too. The roaches will get cleaned up, but like you said, it's going to be 11. Yeah, maybe 12 I was going to say, but it's just 11 SCVs to fall.
That's a lot of work.
It's not really just, right? Like, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Exactly. It's 11 workers, which on its own might not be incredible, but on top of the workers he killed before, remember, and the Mayan time loss, this is adding up to be really bad, because it's just going to slow down so much of your larger army transition, and if you ever want to be just fully aggressive here, then you can put yourself into a great spot. So Double BC
Move back
set
the,
up.
the BCs as well, which means the Corruptors are going to be out and about by the next time the next poke comes in. And this time around, Cham is not being stingy with those. He's making a whole 11 of them, so should be plenty fine for the next BC poke.
Oh, he's got a Overlord going down there at least, so that is something. Is you get the BCs to grab a kill. Supply block for SpeCial as well. He's got one depot finishing, which doesn't exactly, free you up of a supply for a long time. Not when you're lining up a BC as well. So he's going to go for a 4th battle cruiser. That's a lot of investment in the BCs. We have got Corruptors taken to the stage. They're about to come out here and start chasing BCs off. So obviously Yamatos will be traded onto those Corruptors, but they're going to have to start dropping those quickly. And now you're going to fire these teleports. Well, that first BC is already hurt quite a lot. And is doing a great job. Supply block, man. He's 117 CC finishing, but it's just taken a long time. Every time these supply blocks hit, it's taken a long time to get through them.
Yeah, 2 more supply depots now being added on the side of Juan, who has, 1,000 minerals, so I wouldn't mind a few extra ones, especially when you're going mech and getting that very expensive and supply-heavy battle cruisers. As Cham is getting ready for an attack of his own. The Yamato has been spent. The recalls from the BC, the teleport has been spent, so maybe it is a good timing here. There is a lot of tanks, however, for Juan.
Here we go, big push coming in. Corruptors obviously have BCs that are, not able to teleport away. We've got a lot of tanks stacked up. Those vials on the left side are going to be huge. Tanks are disappearing, cats.
Oh my God.
Pushing in. Oh, the BCs are too much right now for the Corruptors, no? With the SCVs underneath them, the repairs just a little bit too much, but the Ravagers can start Corrosive Violent on top of the BCs, and then they can push the SCVs back too. We lift the wall. The BCs just can't kill enough fast enough, surely.
Yeah, and this is a lot of damage on the ground anyway, and now the Corruptors, encroaching there is that turret that's going to be fending them off. One BC sure to fall if Cham wants it, and he will click it surely.
Surely, Cham chase the BC, he gets it.
Yeah.
He's killing the natural, man.
Huge. That is massive. It's looking like it, yeah, for sure.
It's looking like it, yeah.
We might have a new champion. A new champion.
A champion. Oh my God, it was fated. They literally made the title after him.
It really was. And it's 174 supply to 94. There's 3 BCs to speak of, really be standing between Juan and Eternal Doom and his legacy, perhaps some would say. Here come the Corruptors yet again. Yamato is off cooldown. The Ravagers could step forward to kind of aid with the vials here, and that's exactly what they will do for attack. GG in all caps from Juanito, and Chamaco has done it. We have a brand new champion. Really? Is that even Doritos? Not even. Yeah, it is some Doritos. I love it. What a beast.